Have you ever wanted a build that can withstand almost anything that's dished out towards you? A build that... Hold on a second. Let me relax. I can't do this right now. I have to be honest here, and this is not normally what I do with my build intros. I usually hype the build up, get you hype about what's going on with it, tease a few of the features, but this time it's going to be different because I have a certain perspective that I feel some of you may resonate with. The chest piece has 25% damage reduction. It was nerfed from 35%, which I don't know why, because I think that the chest piece is mid-tier. Am I wrong? Am I the only one who feels this way? Nonetheless, I wanted to provide you with a build that I felt was best for this to utilize its talent. And it actually works really well. But that's not to say the chest piece can't be replaced with something else that might benefit you more. Anyways, I'm not going to discuss much about this in the intro, but I think after I seen this comment from 𝐻𝐻𝐷, it helped me realize what was really happening here. And I'm going to follow up on this with another video describing everything that's been happening lately, just a few things that's on my mind, so we could talk about it more. But he said, I'm going to be honest, the chest piece is mid at best. 25% doesn't do enough for you to make it worth it. You'd be better off just running a catharsis. They should have left it at 35%, and honestly, even that is not that strong. If I'm going to run an exotic chest, I'd rather run 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐷, which can give insane amounts of armor regen, and even a tardigrade will increase your lifespan longer than this mid chest does. Master difficulty is a cool idea, but if these are the kind of exotic items we can expect, safe to say, I will not waste my time doing them. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this chest is secretly amazing. I would love to be proven wrong. Work your magic, B. I mean, I guess. I appreciate that. I'll try. So, that being said, let me show you this build we got going on, because it is a beast, even though the chest piece may be mid. So let's get into it. So I just got my Provocator exotic chest piece, and if you were wondering what type of build to make with it, then I got just the one for you. Let me just go into what this exotic talent does. For its attributes, it has armor regeneration and hazard protection, and the talent is called Challenger. You receive 25% damage resistance from enemies within 20 meters. Now, I don't know how this correlates with protection from elites. I don't know how that damage works, but I'm assuming it's just going to help you even more be more resilient, and I have felt it the whole time I was playing this build. It's master difficulty certified, and you can actually solo it if you really have the grit and the strategic prowess to do that. I honestly don't have the patience to do that anymore. Since I soloed Manning National Zoo, I just don't really have the patience. But I mean, based on how I was taking out enemies so fast and absorbing their damage, you can definitely do this, and it's already been done solo by multiple agents. Anyways, with this type of build, you want to go with improvised pieces. If you don't know what those are, high-end gear that have no attributes. Like this right here, Grupo Sombra, has crit damage, explosive damage, and headshot damage. This has no attributes. This is just an improvised piece of gear that allows you to slot in a mod. Because on the gloves, knee pads, and holster, you can't slot in a mod. You can only slot them in here. These three pieces right here. So you want to go improvise here. And you know, I always prefer doing things that are multifaceted. I don't want to just do a tank. I don't want to just do a DPS. I want to do something that allows me to utilize everything that I have and still remain powerful. So with this, I decided to go with the Ravenous Exotic Rifle. This is what allows me to deal so much damage while remaining tanky. Because what it does, on trigger pull, it fires both barrels at once, and when it fired from the right shoulder, it adds offensive primers and defensive primers when fired from the left. So it hits from one shoulder will detonate all the opposite shoulder's primers when present. And when detonated, each offensive primer deals 100% weapon damage, while the defensive primer grants 4% bonus armor and 10% amplified damage to armor plates for 5 seconds. Now, the primer effectiveness is doubled at 10 stacks. So this right here is the weapon you want to use if you have it for a build like this. Okay, and for the secondary, I'm just using the Lexington with Optimus, where I get increased weapon damage based on the amount of ammo I have missing from a magazine. But the whole purpose of this is to basically resist the damage of the elites. Unfortunately, in master difficulty, 90% of the enemies are elites. I rarely see any purples or reds, so you're good with a build like this in master difficulty. In future climax missions, they might actually mix it up a little bit because the red and purple bars hit really hard actually. So you don't want to see them with a build like this. But the method I use to resist so much of their damage. Of course, there's 25% damage reduction from the Provocator Chest Piece, but as I said, these improvised pieces allow me to slot in protection from elites mods where I would otherwise not be able to. The max is 13%, but for some reason I've never gotten one to drop for me, so I'm just stuck with 12, which is okay. This gives me a maximum of 60% protection from elites. Now I could have more. I could have 72% if I had the improvised knee pads equipped, which I do have, but I wanted to cater to the Ravenous, giving me that rifle damage plus the targets out of cover damage I get with the Fox's Prayer knee pads, which is multiplicative. The Ravenous benefits from crit the most, which is why I wanted to get as much as I could on this build. So I basically have the double dual brand pieces that will allow for that. 𝐤𝐴 and 𝐵𝒄𝐿 both roll with crit chance and crit damage. Now, matter of fact, let me change the color of this mask, man. You know, that's not looking right. It need to be red like the Provocator. That'll look dope. Crimson? Oh, I'll do this one. That looks pretty nice. Anyways, for the first piece of the 𝐤𝐴, I get 8% crit chance. And then for the first piece of 𝐵𝒄𝐿, 13% crit damage. Now, everything on here, with the exception of the Provocator and this right here, I have crit chance and crit damage rolled. Now, I know you think that I should have armor regeneration rolled and everything I can to basically survive, but you know, I think the survival aspect is within the damage reduction itself. If I play tactful and really hunker down, you can play this because I prefer more damage rather than survivability. I think I have enough already. And this is irking me to the core. I have 1.6 million armor. If I just optimize this armor piece, I'll have 1.7. Ideally, I would like this to be armor rolled, but 𝒉𝒄𝐿 comes as a weapon core, so it'll be hard to get a backpack that has vigilance, especially with the attributes that I need, so that I can roll it to armor already. So, I mean, it's all good. Like I said, this is kind of like a hybrid tank that allows me to deal the damage that I need and survive simultaneously. I forgot to mention I'm using the Orbit for my pistol. It's a named weapon that has perfect finisher. Swapping from this weapon within 10 seconds of killing an enemy grants 35% crit chance and 40% crit damage. Definitely needed on a build like this. I'm lacking with the crit a little bit, but not much. Enough to get the job done. These skills that I'm using are for DPS playstyles, the decoy for distractions, which was great for the turrets in the first section, and just to get NPCs off your back whenever you're trying to, you know, get that bonus armor or something like that. And the second skill is the Hive, the Reviver Hive, which comes in clutch all the time. I'm so glad they buffed this. The speed of it is just ridiculous as soon as you go down, especially in PvP. And let me quickly show you the specialization that I'm using, which is important too, because the Ravenous jumps pretty much a lot when you're shooting it. So you want to have as much weapon handling as possible with this. So I'm using the Sharpshooter specialization, which gives me breathe free, 15% increase weapon stability. And then you got more headshot damage with rifles and marksman rifles. So it's just a great specialization to use with a build like this. Now, let me show you my stats real quick so you can see how much crit I have. This is really decent, especially if you're running with a team, somebody who has Coyote's mask. This will be maxed out and this will be much more than 123% crit damage. Now, as you can see, the damage was there. I was dealing enough that I needed in order to get through the master difficulty level. I'm not going to say with ease, but with formidability. And it was basically a certified build to do what I needed to do. But that'll do it for this build. I know I had to get one out. This is not the one I really wanted to show. I'm waiting for the next patch to roll out in order to make another Provocator build. But since it's here, I thought I'd help you out with a way that you can make this. I know that the only thing on here that's difficult to get is a Ravenous, because you have to complete the Iron Horse raid or you have to get lucky in the Dark Zone. But I mean, you know, this is what I got and this is what I wanted to present. You can use the Pestilence or something else, but the Ravenous just has so much burst potential and burst damage that just deletes enemies, and you can't go wrong with this, especially when you go against Bichon. He's a Chunga, and the Ravenous deals direct damage to the enemy's health when it comes to robotic dogs, Chungas, or whatever, those enemies that only have health. So you can't go wrong with this weapon anytime during this mission. I want to hear what kind of builds you've made with the Provocator. I mean, have you got it yet? And if you did, tell me what you're rocking it with. I know some people are probably going to rock it with the Foundry Bulwark, or improvised gear is the way to go with this. It's because you can slot in more protection from elites mods. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. I appreciate you watching to the end, and I'll see you in my next video. Be right out.